Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our live stream for those of you that aren't in attendance. Our next speaker, excuse me, will be Gary O'Connor. He's the president and CEO of Mineta Gold. Gary will be speaking about the Tower Gold Project, which is a major project in the Timmins Camp, right here in Timmins, Ontario. Gary?
I will. Thank you for that warm welcome, and thank you everybody for attending today and the opportunity to present our gold project here in the Timmins Camp. We look forward to, to rigorous questions at the end. Mineta Gold, this is the former Moneta Porcupine Mines. We did a name change last year. This is all part of rebranding as part of sort of social media, search engines, but it's still the same company. It's been based here in Timmins since 1910, and so we've got a long history in the camp. We have a major land holding in the camp, and we are currently putting together what is a major gold deposit. We've been working on this for a number of years, and we'll continue to move this forward. I do point out there are forward-looking statements in this presentation, so please be aware of those. Mineta Gold, our main flagship project, is the Tower Gold Project. This is a combination of what was previously called the Golden Highway Project and the Garrison Project. We acquired Garrison from O3 Mining in February last year. We consolidated a major part of the eastern area of the Timmins Camp. We're also a major landholder here in Timmins, and we also have a number of base metal projects west of the camp. As everybody knows, Ontario, #1 jurisdiction. Timmins is an excellent location, and that's why our focus is here. All of our work is here, our head office is here, and all of our employees are based here and work here. Great infrastructure, skilled workforce. You all know the area well. With our recent resource update, and this is fresh off the press, this only came out 3 weeks ago, we now have 4.3 million ounces indicated resources and 7.5 million ounces inferred. And that consists of both high-grade bulk tonnage underground resources and large-scale open pit resources. Occurs immediately adjacent to Highway 101, located 100 kilometres east of Timmins. We now command a strategic 17-kilometre strike length along the Desta Porcupine fault zone on the Tower Gold Project itself. We've really only drilled out 9 kilometres, so we do have another 8 kilometres that has not been drill tested. We have some recent drilling that has tested that area, and those results will be out over the next few weeks, so please do look out for those. So these will be drilling results well out beyond our current 11.8 million global ounces. We just discovered this, with this last resource update, we're discovering ounces at less than $4 an ounce. We're coming to about $3 Canadian an ounce. This is now developed into one of North America and Canada's largest undeveloped gold projects. It's here, right here in the Timmins Camp. We have a large land holding in the eastern part of the camp, over 27,000 hectares. We also have a large joint venture with Agnico Eagle Mines, over 9,000 hectares. We're currently not working that, but we do plan to work that in the future. We had new discoveries, 2020, 2021. There was a major new Westaway discovery, now consists of 1.5 million ounces, of which about half of it is underground resources. And we have identified a pipeline of projects. I won't talk about those too much today, but we have a number of other projects, historical mining, historical high-grade hits, and we'll be working on those as we move the Tower Gold Project forward. We completed 72,500 metres last year in drilling. This year we're doing a 70,000 metre program. Over 60,000 metres of that is infill drilling. We've already completed over 35,000 metres. That is resource upgrade drilling, so we're doing converting inferred to indicated, and that will be part of our pre-feasibility study, which will start later this year. We're currently in the middle of a PEA, a preliminary economic assessment. With the receipt of the new resource 3 weeks ago, we now have a new resource base to do economic studies on. When over the next 2 months, we'll have those results out. We have a number of mine to mill scenarios we're looking at with the trade-off studies, sequencing of the pits, sequencing of the underground, and of course the throughput rates. That PEA will be out over the next 2 months, at which time we'll then be in the middle of pre-feasibility. We own 100% of our assets. Most of our land is patented mining claims. We have both. We own both the surface and underlying mineral rights. On the Golden Highway portion, there are no royalties. On the Garrison area, there's about a 1.5% royalty on average, of which we can acquire back about 0.5%. We see this as one of the lower capex and operating costs compared to our peer group. There were PEAs done both on separate projects in 2020, one by us on an underground deposit and one by O3 Mining on Garrison as an open pit resource. So we do have recent numbers and data, shows a very robust project. We've now combined the projects and we'll roll out a new combined PEA that we think will be very robust and very competitive with our peer group. We also see this as an industry-leading low carbon footprint project. As mentioned, we do have significant exploration upside outside of the Tower Gold project itself, and we are advancing those projects. Metallurgically, no issues there. Both of the areas, Garrison, Golden Highway, the majority of the resources occur in Archean, Timmins age, sedimentary basin, good clean ore, very few sulfides. Main alteration is a iron carbonate, albite, sericite, and with a touch of pyrite. I do point out we have a booth here. I encourage everyone to go there. We have some examples of our core, and we have lots of good maps, sections, and other details, and the geologists are standing by to talk to people. We get on average 92, 94% recovery, no fine grind needed, low reagent consumption, and quick leach time. The ore does behave well to gravity. Laboratory tests have shown up to 50% gravity recovery, and we see good clean tails, no acid generation. We did put some results out earlier this year, and no deleterious elements, so there's no arsenic in this ore. Production-wise for this PEA, we're looking at somewhere in the range of 200 to 350,000 annual ounces of production a year. As mentioned, we're currently just working our way through trade-off studies in regards to throughput, size of plant, and sequencing of both open pits and underground deposits, so we'll have more guidance on that over the coming weeks and months. As mentioned, we see capital costs as being competitive. We're on a great location, immediately adjacent to Highway 101, 100 kilometres east of town here, where there's no need for camps, major roads, infrastructure, and with the addition of higher grade underground ore, the stockpile of low grade ore, we see the ability to reduce the size of our processing plant. So this is really going to turn into a major new gold project that's going to have significant economic value to the area, to Timmins, and to the region. We're located 100 kilometres east of Timmins on Highway 101, just east of Matheson. We have a sizable land position in there. With our acquisition last year of O3 Mining, we've really taken a commanding position in the eastern part of the camp. And as mentioned, we do have some good land here in and around Timmins. Currently not working on those, but we do have plans in the future. The Gold Pike, Bafonta, and Burks areas are areas with historical production. And as mentioned, the Tower Gold itself covers over 17 kilometres strike length. Only 9 kilometres has been drilled out. And in the hatched area, we can see the large joint venture ground we have with Agnico Eagle. Looking at the project itself, it's two basins. They are not connected between. There's two singular basins, Timmins age. What is key about these basins is the banded iron formation units, which occur in the middle of the basins. Gold is associated with them, but not hosted in the BIFs. It's hosted in the coarser grain clastics lying around them, notably to the south. The resource itself, with this update, we connected a number of our previous resources. We now have 2 open pits in the Golden Highway area and 2 large underground deposits, southwest, west away. And in the Garrison area, 3 open pits, and now we've added a new underground deposit there. So that was a key addition. We're well on the way with our environmental baseline, and we do thank our consultants here in town who are doing that work for us. And we have an exploration agreement with the Waagashig First Nations and are in communication with engagement with our community as we move the project forward. The project itself, of course, is based on a significant amount of historical data, and I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping all of that historical core in good condition. We use all of the core. It dates back to the 80s. It's in good condition. It's all undercover. It's all catalogued. We access it all the time. We have over 820,000 meters of drilling. We have 2 core facilities, one here in Timmins and one at Garrison. Over 2,800 drill holes over that time, and last year alone we did 72,500 meters in 130 holes, but that was added, of course, to previous historical drilling. The new resource, it's an ordinary Krigg resource. It's all constrained to wireframes. We did extensive amount of bulk density measurements. We've got bulk density readings for each of the vein structures, each of the deposits and each of the areas. Also, variability has also been estimated for each of the structures, each of the deposits. And everything is constrained within wireframes, so any blocks, and we use 2.5 meter cube blocks for underground, open pit 5 meter blocks. Anything outside of wireframes is removed. We stayed with the 2.6 gram cutoff for the underground resources and the 0.3 gram per ton for the open pits. This is the table of our new resource. It adds to the top, so the summary is at the top. So total open pit and underground, indicated 4.3 million ounces and inferred 7.5 million ounces, consisting of both underground and open pit resources. The major additions for this resource over our previous one was an addition of a new open pit at Southwest, 1.5 million ounces. The addition of a new open pit at Westaway, this is the new discovery from 2020. There's 1 million ounces at over 2 grams in an open pit there. And the addition of, and connecting the old Windjammer Central area to the Windjammer South area. We defined a new area of mineralization. We came up with 2.3 million ounces. That's combined, indicated and inferred. I do point out that pushback is the lowest grade, so that will be late in the mine life. If you take that grade out, you look at the other pits, we're more in the 1 to 1.1 gram per ton. The other major additions were the Garrison Deposits. So this is the Garcon 903 and John Paul. The previous resource was an MIK resource, a multiple indicator kriging resource. It was not constrained. Capping was at appropriately, for MIK purposes, was at 100 grams per ton. We have now done an ordinary kriging resource there, so we've reduced the capping. We constrain everything with wireframes, so we've got the grade up there from under a gram to nearly 1.1. We've maintained about 1.8 million ounces. We see that as our starter pit. It's outcropping. There's been historical production there. There's 2 small pits, and there's no need for any strip. There's actually ore already stockpiled there. Over the last 2.5 years, we've had an over 800% increase in resources. During 2019, we focused on high-grade underground resources, notably the Southwest resource. During the 2019-20, we re-logged a lot of our core, sampled a lot of core that hadn't been sampled. We came up with a new geological model. We tested that. We reconstituted 2 of the open pits, Windjammer South and 55. We had the new discovery at Westaway. We came to a global resource of 5.5 million ounces. Last February, we consolidated the belt. We acquired the O3 Mining Ontario assets. That took us to 8.4 global ounces. And with this resource update, we're now at 11.8 million ounces. These are photos showing the Garcon pits. So these have been mined. There's benches there. We have all the reconciliation data. This was all hauled to the Holt Holloway mill, 96.5% recovery, head grade of over 1.5 grams per ton, over 8,000 ounces produced. So we do have some good, essentially met work there on a bulk sample basis. Garrison we still see as our starter pit, the 3 open pits, and the new maiden underground resource is mentioned. And at Golden Highway, now two large open pits and 2 underground resources, notably at Westaway and Southwest. Comparing the previous resource to the new resource, this shows a 300,000 ounce increase in indicated and a 3.1 million ounce increase in inferred. Looking at an oblique view to the northwest, We can see we've connected Windjammer, the previous Windjammer South open pit, through the gap zone into Southwest. We still have more than 1 million ounces underground at Southwest. Remember in our previous PEA, these showed 8-meter wide stopes, readily mineable, long hole open stoping, less sub 700 US cash cost. Westaway was the new resource. That is, remember we were putting drill results out earlier this year, 15 to 30 meter wide true width on those veins. That is still open to depth, and we hope to continue to grow that. But there, we see these as our two core underground mining centres. While we develop through what would probably be the Garrison pits first as our starter pits, and then sequencing through Windjammer South, Southwest, Westaway, which is now connected to 55, and then later in the mine life, the lower grade Windjammer Central area. So now just comparing open pit resources, so even though we contain that Windjammer South lower grade zone, compared to our previous resources, we lost no grade. We're still at about a 0.9 cutoff. We added over 800,000 ounces. We added 3.5 million ounces inferred. And underground, we actually increased our grade, which was good, and we captured some of those ounces in the open pit. So some of them were converted from the previous underground into open pit resources. So increase in grade and no loss of grade in the open pits. The Golden Highway area has a strike length of about 5 kilometres. As shown, 2 major open pits. We've connected the Windjammer to the Windjammer Central, Discovery, Windjammer North areas, and pulled it through what is the Gap area into Southwest. And in the 55 area, we're successful at linking the mineralisation up with Westaway. Looking at a long section, you can still see the more than 1.5 million ounces underground, Westaway and Southwest, and also that really what are 2 now open pit areas. In the Garrison area, we did very little drilling at 903 John Paul. We did update the resources as mentioned with more stringent methodology. Garcon is virtually all indicated. 903 is about half indicated, half inferred. We have rigs in now drilling that out, upgrading those resources as well as infilling the pit. And of course, we have that 1.8 million ounces really at about 1.1 gram per tonne outcropping. Looking at the underground, we have established our first underground resource there at over 5 grams per tonne. From a valuation viewpoint, we're trading about $13 an ounce. This is significantly below our peer group. This is a major new gold project in a well-established camp in a great location, good jurisdiction. It's now the largest undeveloped gold project compared to our peers, has optionality in regards to sequencing, in regards to both underground, open pit, and it is open to growth. Our share price has performed well over the last year and a half, 2 years. We consider ourselves with plenty of upside for investors, and we're hoping to continue that upward trend where we've increased 5 times in share price over the last 2 years, and we've now got major catalysts still to come. We've got a lot of drill results to come out, both from exploration and from infill drilling, and we'll run that drill program through to October this year, and then with the receipt of the PEA in a couple of months, we'll probably continue to do infill drilling to upgrade resources. Milestones and accomplishments over the last 6 months. We completed the 72,500 metre program last year, updated the metallurgical test work as mentioned, did environmental test work. Our environmental baseline is well underway. Community engagement is all in hand. We've commenced our infill and a minor amount of exploration drilling. We've done over 35,000 metres of that already. Those results have not been released and will come out soon. We just updated our mineral resource just 3 weeks ago, and as mentioned, we will have exploration drilling results to come out as well. We're in the middle of expanding our PEA, our preliminary economic assessment. We'll continue with the resource upgrade drilling, commence the pre-feasibility study in the second half of the year, and we're also in the process of expanding our project development team. So if anyone is looking for work, this is a expanding project. We're hiring. We have people at the booth who are taking names and resumes, so please feel free to go there. This is a project for the future, and this is the future of the Timmins Camp. Second half of next year, we'll have the pre-feasibility completed. We'll be rolling into feasibility. We'll have an environmental baseline done, and we'll be looking to commence permitting So we've got a lot of studies to do in the meantime, metallurgical, hydrological, geotechnical, but we're already talking to many of those contractors and consultants now and lining things up. So on that note, I thank you for your attendance. If there's any questions, please feel free.
I have a question. That's a very, very large deposit you're dealing with. I mean, I've been following the Garcon and 903 and John Paul for a great many years. And I think for any investors out there, if you look at all the unique different properties in the area, I would suspect there may be some pretty good returns, but I'll ask him to address that as best he can without contravening any of our laws.
Sorry,
I think it's a great buy.
the investment proposition.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we're currently trading about $13 an ounce. It's 13 US. Our peer groups, 40 to 50. Any precedent transaction in Ontario usually goes for about $150 an ounce. We're trading at 13, so the rough math on that is about it's 11, 12 times uptick. If you're looking at high grade, you're looking at a higher, you're looking at $250 an ounce, here in Ontario. So we're a great, this has all happened very quickly, as I showed in that slide. This has really only happened over the last 2 years. The acquisition of Garrison last year was a major accomplishment, gives us a great starter pit. We've actually got a lot of upside to continue to grow this resource as shown. But at this stage, we feel we need to de-risk it, move it forward, and we'll keep adding value and we'll get those values out over the next couple of months. And even though we've gone up 5 times in this last 2 years, the market is still having trouble catching up with our value proposition. So,
Are there any other questions?
Gary, do you see good potential to link the two main areas, John Paul versus the area to the west? You show 2 big pits and a big hole in the middle.
yeah, sorry, I didn't put to reduce the length of this, I didn't put a detailed geology map in, but you can see on this slide that the 2 basins are fault bound. So we have four splays of the Destor-Porcupine fault zone. They are fault bounded, so the basins are faulted off. They are not continuous across there. So the great host rock, the sediments and the association with the banded iron formation are not continuous across there. However, the structures are. We do have mineralization in the mafics, ultramafics. It's more your typical green, green carbonate, fuchsite altered mineralization, which is very common in the camp. There is the potential for that, but for the big, large deposits we've drilled out, we don't see the continuation through there. So of priority, but not top priority. We've got better targets in our current ground, and we will show that with some of these drill results we have pending.
Anyone else? Yes. Can you go to the microphone because our people online won't be able to hear?
Looking visually at what you have, what's the reason for the emphasis on Garrison going first versus Golden Highway when we look at the size of what you're saying is the resources?
Look, at this stage, that's really just the guidance we're giving, so it's not necessarily what's going to come out of the PA, but just looking at our own internal, modelling, we see because Garrison is outcropping, there's previous mining there, there's no pre-strip, there's ore actually stockpiled there, so you can be mining from day one. I should point out the Golden Highway, there is overburden over all of the deposits. It varies from 5 meters to 30, 40 meters thick. It's sand, gravel. But any sort of cash flow model we've looked at, if you can be mining from day one at good grade, as mentioned, we're at 1.1 gram per ton with the ability to stockpile low grade ore, get it up to possibly 1.3, blend with the underground, you're looking at 1.5, 1.6. That sort of indicates a better cash flow from the beginning.
So better return, faster, cheaper, easier to start.
That's right. If we had a truck today, we could be hauling ore. I don't show a photo in here, but there's crushed and ground ore just to the back of these open pits that's ready for hauling today. So,
Thank you.
All right, well, I'd like to thank Gary. That was quite the presentation if you looked at the ounces. And there you go, sir.
well, thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
All right, thank you.